history, all 4 belts in the cruiserweight division will belong proudly around the waist of one man.
James Helder, Eiffel TV, MTK Global. With me, I've got trainer Don Charles. We're in the BoxR gym today in Mill Hill East. Firstly, Don Charles, thanks for having us in your gym and opening up your place to everyone today.
Yeah, well, you personally, you're always welcome here, James. You know that. Yeah, we had quite a busy gym earlier on, as you know. We had some good heavyweight sparring going on in there.
Some of the sparring I witnessed today, people would pay good money to watch that. In particular, we saw, I hope you don't mind me talking about this,
no,
we saw
absolutely not.
Derek CHISORA and Lucas Brown getting a few rounds together. Great work for Derek. Is it a case of this benefits Derek, or is it a case of Derek trying to get one over old rival Dillian Whyte?
No. When Ricky called me, he said obviously they're fighting Dillian Whyte. Could they come and get some rounds? I said most definitely. I mean, it's good quality sparring you witnessed there, and for us, of course, we'll take good stuff out of it. I'm sure they've got benefits from sparring Derek CHISORA. So it's, as long as you're both getting something out of it, that's the whole idea of getting two guys of that caliber together.
They're not very similar, as you pointed out yourself in the past, in style between sort of Whyte and CHISORA. They both have their technical differences, but they're both quite similar in pressure at times during the fight.
I mean, look, when I was first approached for that sparring, I mean, like I said, stylistically, no, Derek doesn't resemble Dillian stylistically. So I should imagine it's purely for the intense pressure that Derek brings. Yeah. So that's what they would get out of that. I would imagine, you know, working under pressure. Yeah. So listen, when you spar somebody, like I said, you're both parties will go away from the sparring taking what they know what they came here to achieve, and I believe they probably did it, and we know what we wanted out of him. I believe we got what we wanted out of it.
With you having a respect for Dillian Whyte and Lucas Brown, and Lucas being in the gym so much today, and whatever the case may be, I'm not going to put you on the spot for your fight predictions, as I don't think one, I'll get the answers out of you I'm looking for, and two, I don't think it's quite fair. So
no, it wouldn't be fair, because you know, like I said, I've had an insight into what I saw in there. It wouldn't be right for me to say. Normally I would, but like I said, having they are our guests today, Lucas Brown and Ricky Hatton. They're our guests, and it wouldn't be right for me to make any predictions of the fight. It's going to be a good fight, though.
One thing I want to talk to you about is Saul Alvarez, Canelo basically failing his drug test. We've seen Clebuterol come back, or traces, or whatever way you want to word it. What was your initial reaction when you found the news about Canelo? Yeah,
terribly disappointed, deeply disappointed, because he happens to be one of my favorite fighters of recent times. Yeah, deeply disappointed, because, you know, there's a lot of kids, you know, coming into the sport looking up to these characters, and they should be more responsible in the way they and the offenses like taking drugs. I mean, this is very unforgiving. You can't. I'm sorry. Provided he's been found, it's 100% that those substances were found in his system. It's unforgiving. And you know what? I blame the governing bodies, because I don't believe that they imposing heavy enough fines. I don't even think it should be a fine. I think it should be a ban, a life ban.
Do you think one time should be a life ban, or do you see it as 2 times, 3 times? How do you word that?
Well, that could be, you could argue that, you know, but it depends, levels, isn't it? It depends. And I think because there's been so many people, it's becoming very consistent. Every other month, you're hearing of somebody's, you know, been found guilty of using banned substances. I think a penalty, heavy penalty, like a life ban, for instance. So people will think not just once, not just twice. They'll think 10 times before that. If you and I was doing something, we thought we're gonna get a life ban and our career will be taken away, you're gonna think twice before doing it. Yeah, and I think there should be a heavy penalty. I don't think the penalty is heavy enough. People are getting found out, then fined, which they can afford the fine, and then they get, what is it, 12-month ban or whatever, and then next minute they're participating again. I don't think that should be the case. I think something more severe, like a live ban.
Do you believe the story that's been put forward by Canelo and his representatives that there's a widespread epidemic with the beef in Mexico? We're not in Mexico. We don't know how well documented them problems have been in that country. But do you believe the reasons that have been put forward for contaminated beef yourself?
Well, if that turns out to be the case, so they would have then known about the beef in Mexico is contaminated. So therefore, there should be more selective import. They've got enough money they've made from boxing to be able to import if he really likes beef, then import it. If you know, right, that the beef in Mexico is contaminated, then buy your beef from elsewhere, import it. They've got enough money to do so. No, I don't buy that excuse, I'm afraid.
In the sort of aftermath of this Canelo situation, we saw one boxer in particular, I'm not going to name his name, tweet out that in the 3 years he's been a professional fighter, he hasn't been tested once in the sort of area to regional levels in the boxing game in this country. Do you think that's right, that some of the fighters who are applying their trade, and we're not making any accusations against them, but haven't had that test, if you like, to test them after any of their fights?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's again something to be looked into, because I think people should be tested at all levels, because boxing, whether it's amateur, whether it's pro, you're getting hit. It's the same dangers you face, no matter what level you're boxing at. You're still getting punched in the head. So therefore, the test should be, if they're not doing it, and they're waiting till you get to a certain level before no, I think it should be right throughout the board. It's a contact sport, yeah, and you know, especially with the nature of what's happening, people getting injured and stuff, you know, no, people should be, like I said, tested at all levels, and a lifetime ban should. I'll be honest with you, that's the only way I could see this thing stopping.
Do you think the naming and shaming of boxers who have failed drug tests should be more high profile than it being the odd marginalised sort of section? Do you think that the shaming should be more of a punishment?
No, that's not enough, because how many high profile boxers have been caught in the past and they might be shamed for a couple of months, then they're reinstated, they get their license back, they've got their money in the bank, yeah? They got their money in the bank. No, a lifetime ban, yeah? A lifetime ban. Prevention is better than the cure. So therefore, I think, start banning people for life. Then, because you're putting people's life in bloody risk, you know, danger, should I say, by taking such banned substances.
I want to come on to the heavyweight division as it stands domestically. It's very disappointing for Derek Chisora's point of view, your point of view, the team's point of view of his performance against Caballero. He's regrouping. He looks so much more focused than I saw him to the back end of last year. He looks like he's slimmed down a lot. His mentality, he's obviously as angry and as hostile as always, but he seems a bit more focused and a little bit more mature with things. Yeah,
listen, man. If we haven't learned by now from our mistakes, we'll never learn. So therefore, it's a question of all the people around Derek. I've always, you know, behind the scenes, we're trying our best to. He has to, it's now or never, basically. Yeah, he's 34 years old now. So therefore, if you don't get your act together now and correct the mistakes that you've been making in the past, then I'm afraid people are already writing Derek off anyway. Let them do that. I'm not saying don't do that. People are always writing him off. But we see him every day. I see him every day. And I'm not going to write him off from boxing, because he's a handful for anybody. On his day, he's unfightable. And the Derek you're seeing now, I pray to God, fingers crossed, that between now until the end of his career, yeah, that we're gonna be turning, Del Boy is gonna turn up. The Del Boy that people wanna see will turn up.
Now, how do you explain the performance against Dillian Whyte, which was fantastic? Everyone, the reviews, the praise for his attitude, for the fight that he delivered for the fans and for himself. How do you compare that performance to the lackluster first 6 or 7 rounds against Caballero?
Yeah, that's the character you have. Derek Chisora is unpredictable character. Obviously, it takes two to tango. It takes two to dance. Obviously, Dylan brought the best out of Chisora. Yeah, they brought the best out of each other. Yeah, that's why it was a good fight. They don't like each other. Yeah, there was a genuine. Not, it's not hatred. I don't think they hate each other.
Of course, it's a rivalry.
It's rival. Thank you. Yeah, so they brought the best out of each other. Hence why you saw that. And Derek needs a. I think most fighters will probably say the same thing. They need a bit of fear to operate. Derek is that kind of character. Yeah, needs a bit of fear. He didn't fear Caballero. He didn't see anything that Caballero could do to him. So therefore, he went into there, was complacent. Yeah, and complacency is a terrible disease to have, complacency, and consequently, we lost our positioning. Yeah, although Derek had already won the European title 5 years prior to contesting for it again,
and vacated it as well.
Absolutely. So, you know, no, that's very unforgiving. He hasn't forgiven himself for the performance in Monaco against Caballero.
Do we need him in domestic dust-ups then to see the best of him? Does he need that hostility, that fire, that negativity coming back at him to get him up for stuff?
No. Basically, it depends on when you mean domestic. I mean, Dylan, after Dylan got awarded that victory against Derek CHISORA, in my opinion, a draw at worst case for us. Most people I've met have said we won, but you know what? Good luck to Dylan. Look where he is now. He's doing very well with his ranking. And no, Derek, in terms of domestic, I like, without being big-headed, I think we've surpassed that. And you got all these young cats like your Joe Joyces and who else calling out Derek CHISORA's name. You know what? No, I'm not going to take offense because this is the business we're in. We've allowed ourselves to be where these young up-and-coming cats are calling on. We've created that by not winning, for instance, the European. Had we won the European title, then we would have gone to the level where you're not being called out. But a message to all of them, all the people calling my boy out, Derek, be careful what you wish for, because you get the right Derek CHISORA. I don't even know when I'm going to get the right Derek CHISORA. You get the right Derek CHISORA. Careful what you wish for.
While I've got you here, I know you're a heavyweight specialist. I want to talk to you a little bit about the unification fight. Anthony Joshua taking on Joseph Parker. It's a big chance for Anthony Joshua to cement his legacy and capture yet another heavyweight world title. How do you see that fight playing out?
Well, you know, again, Josh's, I mean, his career-defining fight, in my opinion, was that of Klitschko. Yeah. In my opinion, I know the young man, I don't know if you think, is he halfway through his career? Probably not.
28 years of age.
Yeah, right. So let's say he's halfway in his career. So imagine look at what he's achieved halfway, if he's halfway through his journey. Yeah. Imagine what he's going to achieve in the second part of his career. Yeah. Okay. So he's got the fight on the 31st in Cardiff with Parker. And again, Parker brings different problems. Parker is fast, and like I said in previous interviews I've done, Parker brings speed, and I think Josh will be too strong for Parker, in my opinion. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting fight, but I do see our man Josh coming through victorious, and I'll go as far as saying I expect a stoppage from Joshua.
How did you rate Deontay Wilder's performance out in the States defending his WBC strap against Luis Ortiz? How did you rate that? What did you expect it? Was it different to how you expected it to?
No, it panned out exactly. I was out by 2 rounds. I predicted that it would be finished inside 8. It finished inside 10 on the 10th round. Now, I said earlier on about Joshua's defining fight to date was against Klitschko, and that was Deontay Wilder's career-defining fight to date, that against Luis Ortiz. He showed everything that people, including myself, we've always heard stories about his chinny, and he was able to ride a storm during round 7, I believe it was. Yeah, he was all over the place, but he never lost his head. Yeah. He grabbed, he held, he knew how to survive just to get through the round. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the same fight Joshua had with Klitschko, because at times they had to go through rough waters and they swam and they came out on their end victorious, and almost identical type of finish. You know, really, I mean, listen, we're really getting treated in the world of boxing at the moment. All these big fights are living up to the hype.
In your opinion, how much did the New York Commission in that 7th round, when Luis Ortiz seemed to have Deontay Wilder staggered, how much of them taking a look to see if he was concussed and giving him what looked like extra time to recover, such as the rules in that state, how much do you think that made a difference in Wilder sort of staying in the fight?
Oh, listen, man, they say you make your own luck, you know. I mean, look, from how I saw it, I don't believe he was given too much time to recover, in my opinion.
Who wins, Wilder, Anthony Joshua, at this moment in time, in your opinion, Don Charles?
In my opinion, I look straight into your camera, Anthony Joshua, all day long. I'm not going to go into details. The kid, yeah, he wins all day long against Wilder.
All right, now I know you're just about to get ready for your second lot of gym session of the day. We appreciate yourself making it available for IFL TV. Thank you once again, Don Charles, and I will catch you real soon.
It's always a pleasure, my man, James. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
First time in history, all 4 belts in the cruiserweight division will belong proudly around the waist of one man.